welcome to eBygore, another reaction video here with Damien, the man behind the mask. And today we're looking at the new Chucky series. Just watched the first episode. I know it's not released here in the UK yet, but as you guys know, where there's an internet connection, there's a way. So first things first, I love Child's Play and Chucky. It's one of my favourite all-time franchises. I just don't think there's a real stinker in the bunch really, which I think the third one's kind of but a bit by the numbers, but then they change it up massively with Bride. I know Seed of Chucky's not for everyone, but you can't really say it's by the numbers. It's very weird, very strange, and I thought it was good. I thought it was entertaining at least. And then the two direct-to-video um, entries into the franchise, Cult of Chucky and Curse of Chucky, were both awesome, and I thought they should have made a sequel to Cult of Chucky instead of doing the reboot. The reboot I never really vibed with all that much. Can't think of anything too much wrong with it. It's just I just didn't find it. I just didn't find that it went really well with the original series. But that's a conversation for another time. Um, Big fan of Brad Dourif. Big fan of Don Mancini. I think he's done a great job with the overall series. But all that being said, I wasn't hugely interested, or at least excited with excited for the upcoming TV series. I'm not big on TV. I'm more of a movie guy. Only really check this out because it is Child's Play and has all the original contributors in there, like Don Mancini's and Brad Dourif. But also, I wasn't really sure if it'd make good TV. I mean, it's a movie about a killer doll. It kind of leans really well into a movie format. So I wasn't sure how they'd stretch that, like over an episodic over an episodic format. Um, but I flicked it on, wanted to see it. The show itself revolves around a teenage kid called Jake, who buys a good guy doll at a yard sale. He also seems to know the difference between vintage and retro, which is something I absolutely don't know. The show's based in a place called Hackensack, where the murder rate seems pretty high for a small town. I think a lot of that's to do with Charles Lee Ray, um, and it also seems like Jake's got a really tough home life. They're poor, not real poor, like modern TV show poor, not real poor. Um, he makes these weird sculptures, which look really cool actually, but his dad's not a big fan of him. He's kind of the archetype, tough dad, doesn't understand his kid, bit of an asshole, alcoholic. Um, that's kind of the vibe that you get from him. Later on, the cousin, like his cousin and his aunt and uncle around for dinner, and the cousin's like a real little shit. Junior, he's an absolute little shit in this, and he keeps poking fun at Jake for being gay, essentially, which not so much Jake is uncomfortable with, but definitely the dad is extremely uncomfortable with any discussions around Jake's sexuality. Um, so he comes in and after the meal, he like destroys the big sculpture that Jake's working on, says no more dolls, you need to be normal, all that sort of thing, which is pretty brutal. You also see that Chucky has got a fistful of fur, and I think the indication is that he's killed Jake's cat, Binksy, which is not cool at all, especially because my cat's called Binks. Like, you can kill as many humans as you want, but you leave my kitty cat alone. Um, and then we meet Lexi at school the next day, which is Junior's girlfriend. Um, she's like the typical mean girl bitch character from school, but she plays it very, very well. She's got a real nasty edge to her. The actress playing it does a fantastic job. Um, and she just seems to have this inbuilt vendetta against Jake. which is horrible. I'm not sure it's whether or not because I was the poor kid. I was a poor kid at school. Um, but when she sets up like a GoFundMe for Jake, it really boiled my piss. It was so well written and well acted, especially with it being kids. Um, it was so good. Anyway, she gets chewed out by the teacher after class, and Chucky is there and spooks her. So she kind of takes the page down and leaves, which is a bit weird. Um, but we do get later on in the show, we get a really good link back to the original movies. Jake's trying to sell Chucky because of his dad saying no more dolls. He gets a mysterious phone call from a guy that's saying, "Is it Chucky? You need to be careful. Have you checked in for batteries? All that sort of stuff." You can only assume that it's Andy from the original Child's Play. And then when Jake goes and does the research on the computer, a lot of the headlines are all about the original movies, about Charles Lee Ray, about the original issues happening like Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. Um, and it's awesome. It's a really good Easter egg in there for Child's Play fans. Um, and then probably the highlight of the movie is the talent show part, which Lexa is hosting with all the key characters in the audience, like Junior and Junior's aunt and uncle and Lexa's parents and sister, um, and also Devon and his mother. We've not really talked about too much. Devon is a podcaster who seems to have a bit of a true crime podcast going about Hackensack, the local town. Um, and he also happens to be Jake's crush in the show. Um, and Lexa, for some reason, who's hosting the talent show, is still being a bitch and kind of calls Jake out in front of the whole school or the whole audience and says, "Why don't you tell Devon and his mum what you really think about him?" Which is a horrible situation to put him in. But then Chucky comes to life in Jake's hand and like it's kind of like a ventriloquist bit. He goes up to the stage and just rips this comedy routine. Just rips on Lexa. He has her phone which she'd lost earlier on, and he exposes the fact that she's been having like a little bit of an affair with another boy in school, which puts her in hot water with Junior. He also lets slip that Junior's mum, Jake's aunt, has a secret which he discovered earlier on by listening to her. We don't know what at this stage. Um, and then he just goes on to call the audience a bunch of assholes and fuckers and walks off its peak Brad Dourif, and it's absolutely awesome. Jake gets suspended for his troubles, and that so heads home, where we see drunk dad, who's fully drunk and really pissed off about what happened at the school. I think he punches Jake at one point and like abuses him, and I don't know. But he's definitely got a problem there, and Jake goes up to his room. But then we get the only kill of the movie. Chucky had stolen a bottle of whiskey earlier on that day and somehow drank it all. And then when he goes down and finds the dad in the basement, he kind of just spews all the whiskey and the liquid up at the dad's feet and then drops some live wires down and just electrocutes him. It's a really fucking gnarly kill. It's a really good one, especially for TV. Um, and that's kind of how the show ends. Jake has a little bit of a conversation with him. He goes to the he goes to live with his uncle and his auntie and Junior, and it ends with him having a conversation with Chucky and Chucky admitting that he's alive and that he is Charles Lee Ray. So that's kind of the debut episode. I recommend you all check it out yourself. Give it a watch, as I only really brushed over most of it. Um, my main concern going into this is that it wouldn't translate well to TV. And I was absolutely wrong. With that, I should have known that Don Mancini wouldn't fuck it up. He's writing it, he's directing it, he's created it. The work he's done in Child's Play, he just nails it every time with Chucky, and he didn't disappoint in this. There's loads of throwbacks to the original series, which is great. There's loads of Easter eggs for people that are fans. Um, but it feels modern. You know, it's still got that retro vibe to it, but it feels like an organic update to the series that I think maybe younger generations of fans would find something to enjoy with this. The acting, I have to say, for TV is really top notch. I mean, you've got Brad Dourif in this, so naturally he's going to be fantastic as Chucky. But Jake is incredibly sympathetic as a character. He acts the role really well. Junior is great as the rich, entitled little shit. Lexa, for me, stole the show with just how much of a bitch she was. She's very easy to hate in this. So I thought she was fantastic in that. Um, and I think just seeing this show come out, it really hammers home the fact that the reboot didn't need to happen. With Mark Hamill playing Chucky and the whole electronics system gone haywire BS that we got with the remake. Um, this was awesome. If you're a Child's Play fan, if you're a fan of Chucky, I think you will absolutely adore this first episode. I think there's so much to get into, so much to enjoy. If you're not a fan of the original or if you've never seen it, I also think there's something here to get you into it as well. I don't think it's something that's purely just for the fans. I would highly recommend checking it out. I'd be interested to see if they can keep this up through the entirety of the show. Like I say, with it being a long format, um, it's whether enough there's enough story if you keep rehashing things. But just on the basis of the first episode, it was awesome. It was fantastic. So go check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to find us on facebook.com/ebygore, Twitter @ebygore, and we'll see you on the main podcast with Tris soon.